Hi everyone. You've probably all seen the Justin Timberlake commercial, I think with some football player, and the discussion of 2D versus 3D. I present that to you as just one of the last of the nails in the coffin, so to speak, that tells us that we're all going to 3D. And which means we're all going to start doing it, using it like we all do in everyday life. And also, we're all going to start grabbing back to some of the real basic math and science that kind of we avoided when we didn't have computers. And as a precursor to what you'll be doing in mathematics and what is a large, large part of engineering mathematics, survey mathematics, we'll go through a little bit of an exercise here in terms of designing a roadway using Excel along with doing it in Landesk. I'm sorry, in Civil 3D. I want you to see the commonality between what you have done in a base AutoCAD work in terms of drafting flat and then turning things, in your 3D work in the first part of the second semester of drafting, and what will now be this cascade down or up to dealing in 3D on a regular basis. In this classroom, I'm going to work really, really hard at when I put something up on the board, I'm going to show you X or over and Z and up, over and up. And of course, there are two overs if you think about it, up being away from gravity. So we're going to eventually go back to this idea of being able to take any planar thing and define the X and the Y as the plane and the Z as some not arbitrary, some direction coming out of it. So go ahead and watch that video if you haven't seen it. Cute, well done. And then follow the discussion afterwards where I introduce you to how matrices are used to kind of do this shifting of what would be called a typical section. We'll not deal with this a lot. I'll just show you the Excel part of this in the short term until you get a little bit further in your tech math, or I'm sorry, your algebra class this semester. These are all concepts of linear algebra. There are also concepts that anyone who gets involved in 3D gaming, going from SketchUp, AutoCAD, whatever you're doing, Pokemon, you're dealing with from the start. So this all has to do, you'll see, with the idea that we can rotate anything along three different axes. We rotate what's called about the pitch is when we're rotating about the x-axis. Yaw is what we're used to. Yaw is twisting about the z-axis, and roll is when we're rotating about what we've heretofore called the y-axis. Dividing these things up into those three angles and then adding one row and column to a typical 3x3 matrix will get us this thing called the transformation matrix. And so we'll be using a number of different ways to do this within Civil 3D. When we start getting into point clouds, which AutoCAD 2011 has, but AutoCAD 2010 does not, we'll be using something called Meshlab. But what you want to do is to get to the point where you really feel that Excel is something that will do equal, though not visual, work for you in this engineering world. All right, I copied this. I'm going to stick it out on YouTube using the Apple side of a iMac and not using any software except for YouTube, which means my lips are not matching the sound. And we'll work on that. I hope that doesn't bug you too much. Go ahead and listen to Justin Bieterle, look at the next video, and then we'll go through some examples in class. Thanks for listening.